Dreadful Seconds isn't just a channel, it's a thriving community of those who love to be scared. Share theories, discuss plots, and connect with horror lovers from around the globe. Here, you're never alone in your fear. Are you bold enough to embrace the darkness? Like, share, and subscribe to Dreadful Seconds. Unlock a treasure trove of horror and keep the nightmares coming. Join us, and let your adventure into the unknown begin today. Your membership in the fear-filled realm awaits.
The Whispering Walls, a tale of unseen presences. I had always believed my apartment was the kind of place where nothing strange could happen. It was a simple two-bedroom unit on the third floor of an old building. Nothing spectacular, but it suited me fine. I'd moved in a few months ago, after the previous tenant moved out abruptly. No one knew why, though I never thought much of it, until that night. It was a cold winter evening when the first whisper came. I had just finished making dinner and was settling down on the couch to watch TV. The apartment was silent, the kind of quiet that only old buildings seem to possess. The walls creaked with the weight of years, and the pipes groaned under the pressure of water being used. But then, amidst those familiar sounds, I heard it. A soft, almost imperceptible whisper. At first, I thought it was just my mind playing tricks on me. The old building had its share of noises, after all. But the whisper grew clearer, almost rhythmic. A series of quiet, unintelligible words. My heart skipped a beat. I froze. The sound wasn't coming from the TV, nor was it from the radio or any other device. It was coming from the walls. I glanced around the room, looking for any source of the sound. The walls seemed perfectly normal, just the old plaster and chipped paint I had grown used to. But the whispering continued, growing more distinct, as though someone was standing just on the other side of the wall, speaking in hushed tones. "Who's there?" I called out, half laughing at myself for even considering the possibility that someone was hiding in my apartment. The building was old, but it wasn't falling apart enough for someone to sneak in unnoticed. There was no answer, but the whispering didn't stop. I stood up, my pulse quickening. The sound wasn't just one voice, it was several, murmuring in unison, faint but undeniably present. I approached the wall, my breath catching in my throat. "Stop it," I muttered to myself. "It's just the house settling. You're imagining things." But then the whispers stopped. Silence descended, thick and suffocating. I looked around, trying to steady my breathing, when I noticed something odd. The temperature in the room had dropped dramatically. The air was frigid, and I could see my own breath. Suddenly, there was a loud bang, coming from inside the walls. I jumped back, my heart hammering in my chest. The noise echoed again, this time accompanied by a low, guttural scraping sound. I backed away from the wall, my mind racing. What in the world was going on? The scraping continued, dragging across the plaster like fingernails over a chalkboard. Then, as suddenly as it started, the sound stopped. And once again, the apartment was swallowed by that unsettling silence. I tried to shake off the feeling, telling myself it was just the building's old pipes or perhaps the wind howling outside. But deep down, I knew that wasn't it. There was something else at play here. The next few days were filled with uneasy moments. Each night, as I lay in bed, I could hear the whispers again, soft and indistinct, coming from the walls. Sometimes, they were faint, barely noticeable, but other times they were louder, almost like they were trying to get my attention. I couldn't shake the feeling that someone, or something, was watching me. Every time I turned off the lights, I felt the eyes of 1,000 unseen presences in the dark. One night, after enduring a particularly unnerving whispering session, I decided to confront whatever was happening. I stood in the middle of my living room, listening carefully. The whispers seemed to be coming from the far corner of the room, where a small crack in the wall was barely visible. I approached it cautiously, my breath shallow. As I stood there, I felt the hairs on the back of my neck rise. Something was wrong. My hand hovered over the crack, trembling, as I stared at it. I had no idea what I was expecting to find, but I knew that if I didn't look now, the curiosity would drive me mad. Without thinking, I pressed my palm against the crack. The second I did, a sharp pain shot through my hand. I recoiled, gasping. When I pulled my hand away, it was covered in blood, though there was no wound. The blood was coming from the wall. I stared in horror, watching as the blood pooled at my feet, dripping from the crack in steady rhythm. The whispers became clearer, more urgent, almost as if they were calling my name. I stumbled back, knocking over a chair, but I couldn't look away. The blood kept dripping, more and more, pooling into a dark puddle that seemed to grow larger by the second. And then, through the crack, something emerged. A hand, pale, with long, gnarled fingers, reached out from the wall. I couldn't scream. My mouth was dry, my body frozen in place as the hand slowly crept out, followed by another, and then a shadowed figure began to materialize from the crack. I turned and ran, not daring to look back. I didn't even stop to grab my coat or shoes. I didn't stop until I was out in the street, breathless and shaking. The police never found anything in the apartment when they came to investigate. No traces of blood, no damage to the wall, nothing. But I couldn't go back there. I left the next morning, never to return. And to this day, I don't know what I saw, or who, or what I heard in the walls. But I still hear the whispers sometimes, even now, in the back of my mind. They never truly stopped. And sometimes, late at night, I think I hear them calling my name again, from far away, from behind the walls.